Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time stopping by, please do well to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel. Now let's get into this glam. Welcome to today's class. This is the beautiful model we are using for today. The first thing I applied on her face was my rose water spray. After that, I went in with my serum. This serum I think is from FBH, but you can use any makeup serum that you have. Why you need a serum is just to activate the moisture on the face, the hydration on the face before applying your moisturizer. So next I'm applying my moisturizer. I prefer to use my hand to apply then before I go in with my my brush to blend it into the skin. Okay. The good thing about this model is that she has a good skin. I always tell people that to achieve a very flawless makeup, you need a flawless skin. I can't overemphasize on that. It goes together. Because I was going for a soft look, I went in with a hydrating primer. I'm using the Hydro Grip Milk Primer for this. I just applied it everywhere on her face. Now this is a hydrating primer. As you can see that the face is still glowing even after I've applied it. That's because I want a glowy effect. Next up, I mixed my foundation to her exact shade. Mixed my foundation to get her exact shade. As you can see, the match is impeccable. It is just her exact perfect shade. So I'm going to go in with a beauty blender to blend everything together. Make sure that the foundation is perfectly blended in. Do the same thing on the other side of the face. Just make sure that there are no patches and there are no areas left behind. Just make sure you blend everything together. So you can choose to use a brush for this or a beauty blender, but either ways, any of them works. The good thing about using a beauty blender is that it helps to control excess oil in your foundation because it absorbs the oil when you tap on the foundation. But if you want to get a very good coverage, I would advise you use a brush to apply first and then use a beauty blender to blend. The reason why I could easily just use a beauty blender for this application is because her skin is very smooth. Her skin is very smooth, so I'm not worried about the foundation settling into fine lines or having any what's it called, patch. Now I went in with a concealer that is not so bright. This is like one shade brighter than her normal skin shade. So this is just to get coverage for the under eyes, not necessarily for highlighting. It's just to brighten the under eyes a bit before you highlight. Okay, so for this you're going to start blending from the outer corners of the eyes before you work your way into the inner corners of the eyes. All right, and I love to use a beauty blender for this because that is one of the tools that can give you a smooth blend. Some people use brushes, but I cannot guarantee that a brush will give you the same effect as a beauty blender when it comes to concealing under the eyes. All right, so after doing this, I'm going to go in with that same concealer every other part of the face, the chin, the forehead, the bridge of the nose, and what have you. Then I'm still going to blend them in, just like I blended the one under the eyes. Now, one thing you should also always take note of is the type of concealer you use will tell how your blending will go. If you use a very mattifying concealer for your under eye, you might not be able to blend easily because it might dry up and then you'll be struggling to blend and it will leave patches. So for under eye concealing, generally for concealers, I always recommend very creamy concealers that are creamy and has full coverage, not necessarily mattifying concealers. I don't advise mattifying concealers at all because you will struggle to blend with them. So I'm still using the same beauty blender I used to blend the under eyes. Now after this phase, I'm going to go in with my blush before I go with my highlighting concealer. So for my blush, I prefer to use a brush to apply this because it gives it a better spread than when I use a beauty blender. If I use a beauty blender, I struggle a lot to circulate the product because it just be on that one area where I applied it on. But when I use a brush, I can easily spread it evenly. So you're going to apply the blush on the apple of your cheek, just below your eye level, just below your eye level. You're going to apply it on that exact point, and then use your beauty blender to blend the concealer in to the blush. Now I'm going in with a lighter shade of concealer just for the under eye area. Then I'm still going to use my my beauty blender to blend it in. Okay, now this is important because you want to attract some light, you want to bring some light into the face. You don't want the face to be flat, so you're going to go in with a lighter concealer to bring in some brightness to the under eye area. All right, that's what I'm doing now. And remember to always blend evenly, blend properly, because if you don't blend your concealer properly, you end up with a patched look, and at the end of the day, by the time you're done with your makeup, you'll be seeing harsh lines everywhere, and you'll be wondering, how did I come to this? But it was from your blending. Right? So you blend thoroughly, making sure that you don't leave anywhere unattended to. Now I'm going to go in with my setting powder. For my first setting, which is my setting, I use a powder that is almost close to her skin tone or close to her shade, because I don't want anything bright. I don't want a bright under eye for the first setting. Then maybe after the setting, when I'm not baking, I'll use a lighter shade to throw more light. This technique I'm doing is the same thing I did with the concealer. You use something closer to her shade for the first step, then you can go in with a brighter shade later on. I prefer to use a brush for this because brushes penetrate inner corners of the eyes better than sponges, unless the person has very good control of their eye, and then they can leave their eye up without shaking and the rest. So, but whichever works for you. But for me, I prefer to use my brush for this. So I'm going to apply this everywhere I highlighted, under the eyes, above the lips, the chin? Yeah, the chin, the brow bone, and the forehead. Okay, those are the areas I highlighted. So I'm going to apply it on those areas. And for this step, I'm not packing too much product. I'm just using not very little though, but enough product to get the face prepped. All right, I'm using just enough product. As you can see, there are no live powders. Like, you can't see live powders on the face just lying around. No, I'm making sure that I blend in every powder I apply on the face. I make sure that they all go in and leave a seamless, well blended look, because I don't want the face to appear very powdery. So I'm trying to avoid using too much powder. All right, so I'm going to apply on the brow area too. That is to mattify the brow area, so when I'm drawing my brows, I won't struggle to draw because the brow is oily. Normally foundations contain oil, so to set you need to use mattifying products, and most powders are mattifying. So when you apply a powder over your brows, you set the foundation and then prepare it for the brow when you want to draw your brows. So now I'm going to go in with her shade of powder. As you can see, this powder is her exact shade. Her neck is a bit dark, but I don't want to apply on her neck because she's wearing a turtleneck dress and I wouldn't want it to get stained. So if you look at her face and her body, that's her chest area, you see that it is her exact shade. So for this setting of the face, you're going to go in with the person's exact or your own exact shade of powder. You can't use a lighter powder or a darker powder. It's just best to go with your exact shade of powder. Sometimes getting your exact shade of powder might be tricky, so you might have to mix 2 or 3 powders to get your exact shade. Now for my contour, my bronzing, I'm using the White Glam bronzy palette rather. Now I'm just applying it beneath the cheekbone, just beneath the cheekbone area, because the cheekbone is for blush, so you're going to apply your bronzer just beneath the cheekbone. Then you're also going to apply by the brow area to lift the face. want to apply there to leave the face, and then apply around the forehead to give the face a more structured look. Okay, so that is that. After that, I'm going to go in with my powdered blush. Now, the brush you use to apply this is very important. For powder products, you need a fluffy brush. That's the only way you can get good results. You need a fluffy brush for powder product. Then for her nose contour, I use this brush. This is a small fluffy brush as well. You have to start from just beneath the the eyebrows. You have to start from beneath the eyebrows before working your way down to the middle of the nose. Always remember to start from beneath your brows, then work it down to your nose straight, giving this kind of an illusion of a pointed nose. So that's the best way to achieve it. You apply it underneath your brows and work it down straight down to the tip of your nose. Okay, you do it until you get your desired results, right? So after that, I applied my blush, but I did that off camera. So now I'm going in with a lighter shade of setting powder to bake. This step now is called baking, to bake the under eyes. And for this one, I used a powder puff instead of a brush. Use a powder puff, and this time around you can be more generous with your setting powder because you're going to dust this off anyway. So so that's it. So I used more setting powder this time around because it's also going to help catch the eyeshadow fallouts when I'm doing my eyeshadow. So you need the eyes to pop. So I used my puff and I was done with that. Next, I'm going to go in to the eyeshadow process. For my eyeshadow, I was looking towards a very simple eye look. So I didn't even do any base. Just started applying my eyeshadow directly. So I took a shimmer color. I think it's like a peach shimmer shade on the palette, and applied it directly on her lid. And the palette is very pigmented, so I didn't need a base to get what I wanted. So I applied it on the lid, just in the inner corners and midway into the eyelid, as you can see here. Although I was still going with another shade of eyeshadow just to pop the eyes more, because she wanted something very poppy, so I had to do that. Yeah, so next I'm going in with another shade of eyeshadow. This one is a bit whiter because I realized that the eyes was not as poppy as I wanted, so I had to go with another shimmer shade. This one is towards white, pinkish white. So, and this time I use the bigger brush so I can get a bigger or a larger area. I can get to a larger area instead of stressing myself to be tapping one. Using a bigger brush would make it blend blend faster to other areas. So after that, I went in with a matte eyeshadow, a deep brown matte eyeshadow around the eyebrow, around the eyeshadow, just above the lid, to blend in the transition area. Now, a transition area is the area where two colors meet. Now, by the two colors, then I mean the shimmer and the area I did not apply any eyeshadow. So now this, what's it called, the brown shade I'm applying is to blend in those two areas, blend in the shimmer on the eyelid with the crease area. The crease area is the area beneath your brow bone, So this brush I'm using too is a fluffy brush. I always tell my students to always get a fluffy brush for eyeshadow application. You cannot use a flat brush for this. It is going to stress you. So I'm just going to keep blending and blending until I get my desired results. Okay, now I'm going to blend it into the lid. I'm blending that dark shade into the lid to create more depth on the eyes, because if I just blend only the crease alone, the eyes will look big and not defined. So I'm also going to blend it into the lid area. So now I'm just doing some finishing touches on the brows to make sure that it's okay. Most times 1 or 2 steps will not be enough for your eyeshadow look. You might have to go over and over again. So next I'm going in with my gel liner for our under eye, her waterlines. Yeah, I use a gel liner for this with a brush, but if it's stressful for you, you can just use a pencil. Pencils are easier to use if you're a beginner. Pencils are easier to use than brushes and gel liners. Okay, so the gel liner I'm using is from a Nigerian brand called Tehila Cosmetics. All right, so that is done. Just ask her to look up, and then I'll just touch the underneath the eyes. That's the higher part of the eyes, just beneath the lid. Yeah, beneath the lid, to make the eyes appear a bit more structured and contoured. So I'm doing the same thing on the other eyes as well. Before I now start applying on her lid, that's directly on the lid. This time not under the lid, but directly on it. I'm just drawing a little line to make the eyes pop more. If you're somebody that likes cat eyes, or you like your eyeliner on the lid to be very pronounced, you can do it. But for me, I don't like very large lines on the eyelid. I just prefer a soft lining on the eyelid. Okay, so that's what I did on this eye, and I also did it on the other eyes. For this particular process, you will use a smaller eyeliner brush, a very small, precise eyeliner brush, because you don't want it to be too bold. So that's the best option for you. So after that, I went into my brows. You first of all spool your brows with your spoolie brush, then you start drawing. If you're using a pencil, start drawing from below the brow, that's beneath the brow line, your natural brows. Yeah, then now draw the top, and then allow it to meet at the end. You will follow the natural line of your brows. You don't want to make your brows too big or too small, so always follow the natural shape of your brows, because makeup is meant to enhance, not to alter. So you use your pencil to just draw the brows according to the natural shape of the brows. But if for any case your client or your brows at that one particular point is bad, you can use it to fill in, just make it better, but always follow the natural shape of your brows. Now after drawing the brows, I'm going to go in with the pencil to fill in the brows. Now for filling in the brows, I'll always use more products at the end of the brow, that's the tail of the brow, while I apply sparingly on the front part of the brows, because you want to achieve a more natural effect. So you don't want to use so much, don't want it to be so dark in front, but for the ending part you need depth, so you're going to use more product at the end than in front. For the front area, you're going to just imitate the hair strokes on the face. You're going to imitate it, so you're going to be drawing straight lines at the front of the brow area, just straight lines, imitating your natural hairline, as you can see. Just so now after that, I went in with a darker shade of pencil to just add more depth to the brows, to make it more what's it called, more pronounced. Okay, next up, I'm going to do the front part using a brown pencil. Just going to imitate the natural hair strokes on her face. You're not going to make it so deep. You're going to be very light-handed while you're applying this, and make sure your pencil is very sharp, because that's the only way you can achieve this. So use a very sharp pencil to get this natural strokes in front of the brow area. Okay. And while you're doing this, you're also going to be spooling the brows and putting it in place while you are filling in, because if you don't spool, you might not know if you're on the right track. So as you're filling in, you're spooling. So for concealer, I like to use a dark concealer to conceal my brows, because I don't like to struggle when I'm blending. So I always use a concealer that is in my client's shade, or at most one shade lighter. I don't even go to shades, just one shade lighter. And I only conceal the down part of my brows. I don't conceal to the front because I want a more natural effect. So I only conceal the down part. Then after concealing, I'll go in with my brush to just blend in the concealers. If you do a very good job at getting a clean eyebrow, you might not need to conceal too much, because concealers are there to make corrections where there's a mistake. So if there's no mistake on the face, on the brow area, you might not need concealer. All right. So, and I don't like to use so much concealer, because the more concealer you use, the more difficult it is for you to blend it out. Okay, so I prefer to just use a little concealer, just blend, and then blend it in easily. That's it. So always remember to blend in your concealer after concealing, because if you don't blend it in, I'm sorry, it's going to crease and there'll be oil all over your eyebrow. Yeah, so because concealers contain oil, you always have to blend after applying them. So after that, you're going to go back in with that what's it called, the brush you used for your bronzer. Then I took some powder. Remember to always set any part you apply concealer. So I took some setting powder, a darker shade of setting powder, with that same brush, and applied it on the area that I concealed. Okay, took some setting powder and applied in that area before I now went back in with my bronzer. Because if I don't do that, beneath the brow area will be looking too bright, and to be looking different from the crease area, which is just beneath the eyeshadow. Okay, so next I'm going in for the lips. I'm using a lip pencil. This lip pencil is from Polar Beauty, so, and is a very nice brown shade. So I'm just going to use that to outline the lips before going in with any other shade of lip stain or lip color. Okay, so the reason why it is best to use a lip liner is because when you use a lip liner, it's easier for you to blend, and it doesn't allow your lip product, that's maybe your lip stain or your lip gloss, to bleed. If you use a lip liner, your lip gloss will not bleed and start rubbing all over your face. Okay, so it helps to keep your lips in check. So for this, I'm doing a red lip combo because she wanted a red lip combo. So I went in with a red lipstick. It was easier for me to use a lipstick than a lip stain. This red lipstick was very easy to work with, and I used a brush to take the product and apply on her lips. Now, while I was applying this, I was blending it at once because I didn't want to have any what's it called, harsh line on the lips. Normally, doing a red lip stain is usually very difficult, so it's easier when you just apply and you're blending, apply and blend, instead of just applying and then you start struggling to blend. Okay, so as I was applying, I was blending, and I was using this brush to just make sure that everything was going smoothly, right? So after that, I asked her to smack her lips together, and we were done with the lips. I applied my gloss, and the lip was really popping. So if you're a red lip girly, you can try out this red lip combo, and I promise you would love it. So the lip products I use are from Polar Beauty, both the lip stain and the lip gloss. They are from Polar Beauty, and the lip what's it called, the lip pencil as well too is from Polar Beauty. So you can choose to use a darker shade of brown on this other area of the lip, but for me, I wanted to use red because I really wanted the lip to pop. If I use a darker shade, it might not have popped like this. So after doing all this, you're also going to go in with your concealer brush with a little concealer to just blend and clean out any excesses that you might have done when you were applying the lip stain or doing the outline. Okay, then next you're going to go in with her shade of powder again, this time around to blend everything in. So you're going to apply this powder on her forehead, her jaw, her cheeks, everywhere. You're going to apply even down to her neck area to make sure everything is in what's it called, is in uniform. So you're going to blend it in. Then the powder, the certain powder there, I'm going to brush it off using a smaller brush. I'm going to brush it off and then go in with a lighter shade of powder for beneath her eyes to help the eyes pop more. Right now, if you look at the face, you see that the face is a bit flat. There are no dimensions. So I'm going to go in with a lighter shade of powder to bring more brightness to the under eyes. And then I'm also going to apply my blush again. So now I'm going in with a light shade of pressed powder. This time around, I'm not using setting powder. I'm using a light shade of pressed powder for our under eyes to bring back some color or some brightness to our under eyes. Okay, this step is very, very important because if you don't do this, you end up having a very flat look. So the setting phase is like 3. First one, you use something close to the person's shade. Second one, you use a bright shade of setting powder. Then the third step, you use a light what's it called, a light pressed powder. All right, and use a brush for this face. You can also choose to use a powder puff too if that's what works for you, but either way it's still okay. So next I went in back with the bronzer to bring back some definition to the face, because after I finish setting the whole face, I realized that the face became flat. So I just brought back some definition, some depth to the face using the same I used, the same bronzer I used. Now I'm bringing back the blush to the face. Remember that you're always advised to apply your blush at your chin, just on your chin area there, to make the face have some warmth. As you can see now, the face is beautifully done. The cheekbone is well prepped. Everything is together, and the makeup, the look of this makeup is in her exact shade. I tried my best to maintain her shade and I did not go out of it. Okay, so now I'm applying my highlighter on her cheekbone, her jaw, and her forehead. So I lost some of the footage, but after that you're just going to what's it called, spray your setting spray, and you're done. So this is the final look. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, share, comment, and stick around for more detailed videos like this. Bye.